Shalom, family. It's your brother, Weed. I want to welcome you to the Go Lightly Perspective. I appreciate you for taking a moment to view this video. I want to talk to you about a weighty matter. I want to talk to you about being denatured. We had a class previously in regards to being decultured, where we talked about the tools that the oppressed use against oppressed people to take their culture away. And taking the culture and identity from a people is akin to killing, to destroying that people, because now they have no connection to the past and they're only caught up in the cyclical recurrence of trying to be modern people, modern groups, connecting with those that have power, and the rules, the guidelines, and society that they have given to these people is intended to maintain the power structure. But when we go back and we gain culture, we gain the direction, we gain the historical context from which we should be viewing the world and how our ancestors lived, it overturns said thing. It overturns the power. And also, if we couple with that, the regaining our nature. Many of us have allowed adverse conditions, trauma, drama to change the nature of who we are, the very essence of who we are as a compassionate, loving, forgiving people that have deep roots in community, family, and tribe. Those things have been robbed from us, have been taken from us, and have been replaced with individuality. So what I want to talk to you about is being denatured. If we look at the context of the scripture, there's one scripture that I want to read, and I'll probably post it right here, was in 2 Peter 2:2. It says, grace and peace be, 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 2. Grace and peace be multiplied unto you through the knowledge of Elohim and of Yahushua Adonai, according to his divine power, hath given unto us all things that pertaineth unto life and godliness, through the knowledge of him that hath called us unto glory and to virtue, whereby are given unto us exceedingly great and precious promises. By these ye might be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. What we have here is an understanding that we have to operate and move through the knowledge of Elohim, not the knowledge of this world, not the knowledge of the princes of this world. We have to operate, not when I say we, I'm speaking specifically to those that follow the Israelite tradition. You consider yourself to be a Hebrew Israelite. Blessings and shalom to you, and to those that listen that may not understand that, may be on the fence in regards to it. I speak to you as well, because whether or not you accept your heritage, or if you're like Esau, if you sell your heritage for a morsel of bread and you say that it doesn't matter, I pray for you. But this word is still for you, whether you receive it or not. The unfortunate side of this is those that don't receive it is typically because they're exercising their own knowledge, the knowledge of this world, versus the knowledge of Elohim that will give them conclusive understandings of who they are, versus who the enemy has told them that they are, who the society has told them that they are. And the question is, society will give you an identity, but the question is, why haven't you gone back and discovered these things? Why don't you have knowledge of who you are? Why don't you have an identity? Why are you still clinging to adjectives, to identities that were given to you by your captors, by your enslavers? And verse 2 says that their knowledge has to be according to the divine power that he had given us to all things that pertaineth unto life and godliness. And that should be our nature. We should focus on things that give life, family, things that bring forth godliness, not the things that bring forth the destructive character, that bring forth the lower, baser elements of who we are. But no, not speaking death, not speaking calamity, not speaking uncertainty, not speaking faithlessness, but speaking life, joy, peace, speaking godliness. And when we say godliness, it's not something that you just make up according to your own whims. It's things that we can correlate and find within the text. The ways that our fathers lived that were righteous, because there were some that were unrighteous, just like we have that today. But we have to have the mindset and the nature and even the way that we speak has to be according to the ways of life and godliness through the knowledge of him that has called us unto glory and to virtue. See, instead of exercising our knowledge that we've been given to judge good and evil, instead of eating from that tree, instead of eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, we need to eat from the tree of life. We need to eat and consume and partake of those things that pertain to life and godliness. Like him, consider not exercising your judgment. All the time, people are judging and rationalizing things that are far above their critical ability to do so, their mental capacity to discern. But the society has told you that you should have an opinion about everything when you don't know the ways of Yah. You were not taught these things. So, of course, when you hear it for the first time, it's going to rub you the wrong way because you were not taught righteousness. You were taught unrighteousness. You were taught death and adversarial, rebellious ways versus a way that pertaineth unto life and godliness. And that is necessary for your denaturing, for you to be denatured, unlike your fathers, unlike the Most High, unlike the godly past, the godly history, the godly DNA and epigenetics that are contained within you. The essential elements of who you are has been locked. So now we're trying to give you the keys to unlock those things, to unlock that divine nature that has been promised. And you know how I know so? Let's read verse 4 again. Whereby are given unto us exceedingly great. This isn't a small thing. This is exceeding. Now unto him that is able to do exceedingly above and beyond that which we could ask or think. He exceeds what we can think. Your future, your destiny is greater than what you can imagine if you come out of the nature that was given to you by the society. It's exceedingly great. And he has given us precious promises. He's promised us that we could have the nature, the power that he's given us. The power is just the ability to affect change, positively or negatively. I love Huey Newton's definition where he says power is the ability to define phenomenon and to make it act in a desired manner. We are insincere about our desire for acquisition of power, to have and to maintain power, to control our neighborhoods, to control our families, to control our destiny, to control our financial situation, to control our water, to control our food. We want power over these things. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a process of getting it. The Father has promised us precious things. See, we don't have to go about trying to do things in the way that others do things, because our God, our power, told us we can get water from a rock. We can pay taxes by going to the water and get a fish. Reach down there and get a fish and, pay our taxes. That's the exception. But the rule is you should be like the disciples. Have a profession, oh man. Nothing wrong with being a physician. Nothing wrong with being a carpenter. Nothing wrong with being a tax collector. Nothing wrong with dealing with money. Nothing wrong with having your own business, being a fisherman. Nothing wrong with being a blacksmith, a jewelry dealer, a jewelry collector, a diamond grader, a jewelry designer, a tent maker, a cartographer. That's just a map maker. Let's keep going. whereby are given unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these promises, by this knowledge of Elohim that pertaineth unto life and godliness, we can be partakers of the divine nature. I believe that we are that. I believe that we can tap into that God-like nature, to that divine nature. But it doesn't come from just my melanin. Melanin plays a part, but that's not the essential element. The essential element is having the faith and going back and receiving what the Father said he would allocate to his sons and to his daughters. And when you do that, when you walk like him and you do those things that pertain to life and godliness, you will begin to express the divine nature, not the lower, baser nature, not the nature that was given to us, superimposed on us, incentivized in us, for us, through us by the dominant culture. And I say that word often because it's necessary that we juxtapose. It's necessary that we contrast and compare. It's necessary that we look at what the Father is offering versus what those that are in power are offering. Because they're offering one world government. They're offering to take care of you. But the Father's offering the same thing. He offered it, before the enemy did. I ain't worried about one world government. It's going to happen. Why? Because thy kingdom come. It is coming. Matter of fact, it's here. It's within us. That divine nature is showing forth. And that's what we're trying to bring out, is the divine nature. But he's convinced us to walk according to the nature that he wants us to have. If we think about the denaturing, look at what they put in the media. Look at the images. Look at the, just the rise and the popularity of mutants. People want to be everything but the creation of the Most High. They convinced our sons and our daughters to want to be mutants, to want to be different than the creation of the Most High. That if you get a spider bite, or you get bit by a bat, or if you from Krypton, or if you get a special super soldier serum, you can design you some type of suit. You'll be special. Not knowing that everything that's special in you is already in you. It's just in your DNA. And you have to then be able to tap into that, multiply it through faith, that through faith you can grow and expand because you simply believe, y'all. All things are possible to him that believe. No, you may not be able to fly from here to Istanbul, Turkey. No. Why? That's not for his glory. That's for your glory. That's just for you. That's just childish fantasies. See, we got to be rooted in reality. We got to be rooted in what the Father said we should be doing. Our preoccupations should be according to life and godliness, not selfishness, not immaturity, not being overly consumed with acquisition of money and fame. That's the immature mindset. That's a mutated talent. Don't allow your talents, your gifts to be mutated, to be used by the enemy. And then he'll incentivize it. He'll give you a little bit of money. But with that incentive, with that payment, comes the denaturing, a pulling away, a separation between you and the divine. That children have that divine mind. They come in with it, but then over time it's taken from them. They're told what they can and cannot do. They're told who you are. Limits are placed on them. I try not to place limits on my sons and on my daughter about what they can and cannot do in terms of aptitude. No, let them discover. But they're not going to discover in an unrighteous way. No, you got to place borders. Don't remove the ancient landmarks. Don't remove that. It's necessary. We move and operate a certain way. I'm not going to be that parent that just mindlessly supports a child in error, where they're part of this grand experiment on my dollar, I should say. And then they end up failing. And then people try to tell you that you're wrong for not supporting them in what they want to do when they don't even know what the hell they want to do. I'm not doing it because I know that they are trying to make my children, they're trying to make me, they're trying to make you in their image and in their likeness and in their nature. And we have to resist these things. And we resist by being what the Father has called us to be. If we look at so many different images, if we look at what's going on in the world, if we look at how, our women are openly advocating for femininity, for feminism, that the feminists should rule the world, that men have done everything that they can do. They've worked these laborious jobs, providing this amazing infrastructure, if it's construction, if it's infrastructure, if it's sewage, if it's plumbing, if it's being an electrician, if it's paving roads to have, paving roads. You look at, airports and all of this phenomenal technology that now, because men have done these things, they've gotten society to a certain point. They have to now turn over the reins of these things to the women who can't maintain it. And that's not speaking against women. It just speaks to their ability to not bear the weight of these things. I'm not against the feminine. I'm not anybody that follows me, but we got to keep things in order. It's a reason why the majority of men or these professions are men. Women don't even have a desire to do these things. It's not because they're held back. And then they say, well, you should socialize your daughter to tell her that maybe, you should want to be a plumber. You should want to be an electrician. You should want to do construction work. No, not my daughter. My daughter is dainty. My daughter is in her feminine energy. I've raised her to be a princess. And that's a problem for somebody. And the problem is you don't have the divine nature. You don't understand what the Father wanted for the daughters of Zion, to be provided for, to be taken care of, to know that you have men that would give their life for you at the drop of a dime and wouldn't even think about it. That anybody that had a problem with you got a problem with the tribe. Y'all better read about the story of Dinah, how her brothers went to war for her when she was taken advantage of. Yeah, we going to war. This ain't got nothing to do with the police. Even in the modern context, nah. You touch, I ain't even got to state the obvious. Let's keep going. If we look at this boss babe, this boss chick energy that's in the world, what nature is that? Who does that benefit? Who does it benefit when our men are walking around with their pants sagging, hanging off their tail? You showing your buttocks, you showing your ass. What are you advertising? Who does that benefit? And what nature is that? Look at the nature of a man that lies with another man and a woman that lies with another woman. You can do it if you want to do it. It doesn't matter to me, but is that the divine nature? That's the only question. I don't care what you do. It matters not to me. What matters to me and to my tribe, to my family, is, are we connecting with the ancient principles that were given to us, passed down to us, bequeathed to us by our ancestors, by our fathers. And that's what the Bible is. It's an ancient book written by the Hebrews, given to other Hebrews, to the Israelites, to tell them the ways that they should walk, move, and understand who the power is that they're served, to understand how to please their tribal deity. And if you get lost along the way, we're going to give you this text so that you can begin to rediscover, reclaim, and possess and control your righteous mind, to reclaim and rediscover your divine nature as you move and speak according to life and godliness, because it is a precious promise. exceedingly great promise. What men do on their own time and in their bedroom matters not to me. I got my own bedroom to worry about. But when you think about the productivity of a people, as a people, you cannot have power without numbers. We have to participate in behavior that produces numbers, not just quantity. We're talking quality. Quality in the image and nature of the Most High Yah, doing what He said do, letting our women rediscover who they are, to be comfortable in their feminine nature, and knowing that that feminine nature is not a nature that is subjugated, that is reduced, that is stepped on, that is perverted and corrupted. Nah, that's not it. It's not a nature that does not have a voice. It's not voiceless. It's not silent. It's not a voice that doesn't have anything of value to add versus just have something valuable to do, i.e. having children or just cooking. Nah, that's not the femininity that I find in the text. I'm in the process of reading the brother Zion Lex's book, The Matriarchs of the Covenant, and I find it very interesting. I find it very enlightening and even-handed the way that he's going about laying out this presentation. And I'll discuss that at a later date, but it's very valuable and I appreciate him. And I'm going to tag him, and I hope to be able to do an interview with the brother. We've, had some discourse back and forth, and we just had to determine when the time would be appropriate. I definitely want to get through the brother's book, but I can read fast, but I just choose not to because I want to give the proper time to the book and just allow these things to digest. So let's keep going. When we look at the nature that the Father has given us, where we have actionable things that we could take, where we believe in family, that within the Father chose a family, a man and a woman. They went about in having a child. Abraham and Sarah, they had a child. They had Isaac. Isaac begot Jacob. He had Esau as well, but that's not the line of the covenant. Jacob had 12 sons through 4 different women. The Honorable Dr. Thomas Murray, he calls that the apparatus, the apparatus, the method in which can be used in order to have dominion, to produce quality sons that you can direct and that you can put your hand upon and allow the divine nature that you have to be transposed, to be superimposed, given to them, so that now they are your representatives in the earth. That's how we become a greater people and move and walk in the nature that the Father has given us. If I can pull up some images of, people with many different types of piercings and crazy tattoos and just excessive, just extravagance. But we know what Torah says, that the way that we should move. I know that in, American culture, the nature of an American is to be rebellious. You go out, you get as many piercings as you want. You go out and get as many tattoos as you want. But some of us that doesn't gel, because we've read Leviticus 18:22. We've read Leviticus 19 and 28, where it tells us to make no cutting in our flesh for the dead. Don't put any marks or prints upon us. Yeah, we did it. I did it. It was because I did not know who I was. I did not know that the commandments of Yah were still in force. I did not know that his statutes and his laws are perfect and that they're still active in the earth. And if I want to be like him, if I want to be accepted in the beloved, I have to do what my Father told me to do and not do what apologists theologians, preachers have told me to do. Now I'm talking about the corruption of these things, not those that operate in a righteous office. I would love, maybe I'll put this image up. I love this image of, you know what, let me just share this image. Y'all, I'm gonna share this image. Let's go to the slideshow. I'm gonna share my screen. This is I love these images of Tamar, who was the mother of the Judahites, that the lineage came through. We got Abigail, who was David's wife, but that would be equal to this woman on the left, who just happens to be my wife, Hope, where the contemporary meets the ancient, those from antiquity, where you can rediscover that divine nature. And we have to be unapologetic about, being said things. The way that we present says so much. The way that we move says so much. So we want to be able to reflect the nature of the Father, even in contemporary terms. That's rediscovering the nature of the Father. But, I pulled this image up about how our ancestors have gone the way of, it's just a lot of ignorance. I don't even know how else to say it. And buffoonery, where we were idolizing, identifying with those that were pimps, clowns, buffoons, ignorant men that preyed on women, that preyed on the disadvantaged, that preyed on those that had even mental problems, that had daddy issues. They preyed on them. It's always been in the earth. But when when your enemies, when the culture that is America, when the media grabs hold of it and places these images before you, put these black exploitation films out, puts these men out before you as if it's something that you should want to model, that is denaturing. You have been denatured as a people, as a person, when you subscribe to this thing. But we know. If you read Ephesians 5:5, for this you know that no whoremonger, no unclean person, no covetous man, nor an idolater hath any inheritance in the kingdom of Hamashiach and of Elohim. You got no part. So if you want to have a part in this divine nature, you can't be a part of this nature. This ain't the nature that you can express. This isn't the mindset that you can have to be a part of that eternal kingdom. Now, if you want to be a part of, Babylon, because Babylon is fallen. It's not going down. Babylon is fallen. It's already done. We're just going through the process of what the Father said would be the end. He's already let his children know what the end would be. That's why we're not going to be deceived. And he's even cautioned us to let no man deceive you with vain words. All of this slick talk. Man, get the bag, get the money, get the honey. I can tell you about it because I know about it. I've been there, lived that, grew up listening to Pimp C, listening to Ice-T, to UGK, and all this nonsense that only destroyed the hood, destroyed neighborhoods, destroyed families, destroyed women, produced children that were destroyed, that went on to try to emulate the very same thing because they were broken. But it's better to try to have strong children, to make strong children, than to repair broken men. But we're in the business of that too. Yeah, Frederick, it's easier to do it that way. But somebody got to be willing to step in and say, these men are worthy. They've been miseducated. They've been denatured. They've been decultured. But we're going to figure this thing out. We're going to help them. Because of these things, the wrath of Elohim is upon the children of disobedience. Be not ye therefore partakers with them, for ye were sometimes darkness. And that's what I said. I did it sometimes. I understood it. I wanted to do those things. I was in darkness, but now ye are light. But now are ye light in Yah. So walk as children of light. So if I'm walking as a child of the light, I can't identify with these things. I can't operate the way that they operated. I can't do it. I won't do it. It's beneath me. I'm beyond that stage and phase in my life. My mind has been expanded. I have a whole nother paradigm and interpretive lens through which I view reality. It's according to life and godliness. Why, Dawid? Because I want to be a partaker of the divine nature. That's what I want. I don't know what you want. And really, it's neither here nor there. You can want to advocate for feminism. You can want to advocate for people to make life choices that are their own. You can advocate for the alphabet gang. It does not matter at the end of the day. Because there comes a time when you got to choose up. I chose it. And because I chose and you chose don't mean that I'm mad at you. I'm not mad at it one bit. Enjoy whatever you do. But understand that we are not the same. We're not on the same team. I'm on the side of the God of my fathers. And I make no apology. And I won't let anybody shame me for that. I'm an Israelite by blood, not conversion. We're going back to the land. We're going to replace bombs. Judah. Going to return to Jerusalem. The Most High going to do it. We won't use a gun. There was a poem that I wrote some time ago. Let me stop. We want to be partakers of that divine nature, which the Father has promised. He's promised us that we can do these things. That if we walk in the grace and peace that he's given us, that has been passed down to us by our fathers, he's given us precious promises. Go back and read Psalms 91. Go back and read Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. Read Leviticus 26. Read the promises. He said, I'll be with you in famine and in plague. Family is famine and plagues in the land. You're going to need to be a different nature so that he can nurture. You don't want to be hand in hand with those that have a different nature, a different belief system. Because I've read in the book of Proverbs that though hand be joined in hand, evil, the wicked, will not go unpunished. So if you're holding hands with them, if you're saying, I want to be equal to them, I want to be one with them, you get the same judgment. You get the same punishment. You get the same wrath that they do. Don't act like you don't know that that's a part of the law. That's even in the law that's been codified here in the United States, that if somebody go rob a bank, you may not have went in the bank. You could have just been in the vehicle with them. You going to jail with them. You may have just been a getaway driver. You didn't go hold nobody up at gunpoint. You didn't commit murder. You didn't shoot the security guard. But you're guilty by association. Y'all know the RICO laws, where so many degrees of separation and proximity to certain people can get you a case. Same thing with the Most High. You show me your friends, I'll show you who you are. Who is your group? And that group is going to have a nature. Is it the divine nature or is it the fallen nature? Some people still clinging to that fallen nature. I don't want that nature. That nature allows me to be destroyed by our enemies, to not walk in the power of the Most High. And I may not have the aggregate, I may not have the power, all of that power expressed, but the power of Yah is so big, it's so grand, it's so majestic, it's so potent that it's intended to be expressed throughout generations. You have people that are now advocating that they want to be childless. I'm talking about in our culture. I don't care what nobody else. So when I talk, I'm talking about us. I'm talking about those that are brought captive here to America, the American descendants of slaves. That's who I'm talking to. I believe that we are part of the diaspora and that we have brothers and sisters on the continent, from Sierra Leone around to Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, Gambia, Mali, Senegal. I believe we have brothers in Nigeria, Guinea, Togo, Benin. I believe we have brothers all throughout the Ivory Coast into the interior of Africa and sub-Saharan Africa. From Kenya. Oh, I'm going to have to do a video about this maybe later. I am going to Africa. Hallelujah. We're going to have a good time too, family. Going to Africa in January. Going down to South Africa, go connect with the brother Ron Dalton. Been talking to him for years, been knowing him for years. Going down there to South Africa, we're gonna fly into Joburg. I'm still trying to see if we got time to go to Cape Town. Want to go to Swaziland, go check it out down there, meet some people. The Father's blessed me to be able to have a guide, but it's gonna be a good time. So I'm going to go and meet these people because I know that I got brothers there. I know where my family was taken from. Going to go spend time in Kenya. Going to go spend time in Tanzania. Hopefully try to make a trip to Ethiopia as well. And I know that my nature is going to be changed. I know that my nature is going to be different than what it is now. Because I've eaten the food, I've drank the water, I've consumed the minerals. You can't remain the same. It's not the same. All right, family, I'm going to stop right there because I want you to just consider that we have been denatured and now it's time for the return. It's time to get back, to stop playing church, to stop playing assembly, to stop playing whatever it is that you're playing, acting as if the Father is going to save your church and your church alone, save your assembly and your assembly alone. This is foolishness. This is European theology that we are still exuding in the quote unquote awakening. But how awakened are you really? Yes, the Father uses assembly, but he's not trying to call. Anyway, let me stop. I'm going to pull up. I love you. I love you. Assemblies are important, but families are even more important. Families should be connected even within the assemblies. Connect your families through marriage, through covenant. That's how you build strong, permanent bonds. Beloved, my elder Asa, I love him so much. He did a great class last night. And, he was just sharing with us about how difficult it is to get anybody to snitch in an Italian neighborhood because they're all family. They link together. You ain't going to tell on, I'm not going to tell on him. I don't care if he did it or not. That's my cousin. That's my nephew. That's my brother-in-law. He's married. He married my sister down the street, right across the way. That's my uncle. That's my second cousin, third cousin. That we're all family. We're linking together. And if you deal with him, you got to deal with me. You can't be mad at him, fight him, and then think that me and you going to be cool. When you begin to go back and rediscover the nature and the culture that the Father has given us, you make different decisions. All right, family, appreciate you for rocking with me. Take a second, please like and share the video. I hope that this has been beneficial for you, that I've added some value to your life, that I've given you some considerations from my mind to your mind, where you can allow these things to get down into your heart and meditate on it, mix it with emotion, and see what you can do to influence those that come from you, that are connected to you, to rediscover the precious promises that the Father has given us, that you might be a partaker of His divine nature and not the nature of one that has been oppressed. Shalom, shalom.